Good morning, dear friend. As the first light stretches across the sky, soft and quiet like a whispered promise, I want to welcome you to this sacred space, the stillness of early morning. Before the noise of the world finds its way into your thoughts, before the demands of the day ask anything of you, there is this moment, a pause, a breath, a sunrise that does not rush. You are here, and that already matters. Maybe you did not sleep well. Maybe your chest feels heavy with something you can quite name. Maybe yesterday left you frayed at the edges. Or perhaps you are here because your soul has been restless for days, or even weeks, and you are just trying to hold it all together. I once knew someone who quietly carried more than anyone could see. Every day, she smiled politely in the grocery store. She showed up to work on time. She answered texts with heart emojis and kind words. But inside, she was unraveling. Her mother had passed unexpectedly. Her finances were shrinking. Her future felt like a locked door with no key in sight. And while she believed in God, she did not know how to talk to Him anymore. Prayer had become something she used to do, not because she stopped believing, because her pain had drowned out her voice. One morning, she sat at her kitchen table with a half-finished cup of coffee and finally whispered, "God, I am tired." That is all she could say, but it was enough to break the silence, enough to invite something deeper. That small whisper opened the way for a quiet miracle, not of circumstances, but of the heart. Peace did not come all at once, but it began, one morning at a time. And so, maybe that is you today. You are not asking for perfection. You are just asking for peace that holds, clarity that steadies, strength that meets you where you are not where you think should be. This is not a performance. It is not about saying the right things in the right order. This is about showing up honestly. It is about meeting God in the real, not just in the spiritual sounding. It is about finding your way back to stillness through trust, not pressure. Prayer is not a task. It is a turning. It is the quiet decision to stop carrying everything alone. And real faith, does not always look bold or loud. Sometimes, it simply looks like waking up, showing up, and saying, "I am here." There is something powerful that happens when you make space for sacred conversation, when you give God your inner world, not just your outer needs, when you speak with Him not because everything makes sense, because you trust He is listening, and He is right now, right here. So this is your invitation. Let go. Take a breath. Let your guard down. Let your soul stretch out again. You do not have to explain everything. You do not have to impress anyone. You are not alone in this place. Let us begin this journey together, not with noise, but with stillness, not with striving, but with surrender. You are safe here. You are seen. And you are being drawn into something deeper than just a better day. You are being drawn into the arms of the one who knows you fully and loves you entirely. Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, I come to you at the beginning of this day carrying a weight I can no longer ignore. My mind is already full before the morning has fully arrived. Thoughts are pressing in, worries are whispering, and concerns are sitting quietly in my chest. I bring all of this to you without hiding it, and without pretending I am stronger than I feel. I am tired of carrying things I was never meant to hold alone. I confess that even before my feet touched the ground today, my thoughts were running ahead of me. I was replaying conversations, imagining outcomes, and bracing myself for moments that have not yet come. I feel the pressure of responsibility, the fear of uncertainty, and the quiet anxiety that follows me from day to day. I admit that I have allowed these worries to take up space in my heart, crowding out rest and peace. Father, I acknowledge that my heart was not created to be a storage place for endless fear. It was designed to trust you. Yet so often, I try to manage everything on my own. I carry questions I cannot answer. I shoulder outcomes I cannot control. I hold tomorrow inside today, and it weighs me down. I bring this truth before you now, without excuses and without resistance. Right now, in this moment, I pause. I breathe. I stop trying to fix everything in my mind. I place my attention on you. I recognize that you are present here with me, not waiting for me to sort myself out, not demanding perfection, but inviting honesty. I give you my unrest as it is, not as I wish it were. Father, I name the weight I am carrying. I name the fear beneath it. I name the tiredness that comes from thinking too much and resting too little. I do not want to begin this day ruled by worry. I do not want my decisions shaped by fear or my emotions driven by anxiety. I want my heart to return to its rightful place of trust. I admit that I have tried to protect myself by staying alert, by staying tense, by staying mentally prepared for what could go wrong. I see now how this has drained me. I ask you to help me release the habit of constant vigilance. Teach me that peace is not found in control, but in surrender. Show me how to place the weight of this day back into your hands. As the light of morning grows brighter, I ask you to meet me here in my vulnerability. Quiet the noise inside me. Gently slow my thoughts. Help me close the doors in my mind that I keep reopening. I do not want to rehearse fear today. I want to learn how to trust you with what I cannot see. Father, I give you permission to interrupt my anxious patterns. When my thoughts begin to race, remind me to return to you. When my heart feels heavy, remind me that you are carrying what I have released. I am not asking for everything to be solved right now. I am asking for enough peace to take the next step with confidence. I choose to begin this day by acknowledging my need for you. I do not deny my worries, but I refuse to let them rule me. I place them before you as an act of trust. I am here. I am listening. I am willing to let go, even if it feels unfamiliar, even if it feels uncomfortable. Help me learn a new way to start my mornings, not with fear, but with trust, not with tension, but with openness. Let this moment become the foundation for the rest of the day. I remain here with you, allowing your presence to steady my heart and prepare me for what lies ahead. God, you see how quickly my thoughts begin to spin again. Even after placing my worries before you, I still find myself pulled back into the cycle. It starts so subtly, a single thought, a what if, a memory that replays without permission. And before I realize it, my peace feels fragile again. It is not that I doubt you. It is that my mind has been trained to keep running, to keep rehearsing, to stay alert. I bring this pattern to you now because I know you can help me unlearn it. There are moments when I do not even notice the shift. I begin planning a conversation that has not happened yet, imagining the worst outcome in a situation that still lies ahead. I try to predict every twist and prepare for every possibility. But all of this only makes me feel more exhausted. My body may appear calm, but my mind races behind the surface. I feel like I am living 10 steps ahead of today, and yet I am stuck in place. Lord, I want to be present. I want to breathe without anticipating disaster. I want to rest in truth, not drown in speculation. Show me where I have confused overthinking with being responsible. Remind me that awareness is not the same as worry. I do not need to live in constant preparation for pain. I do not need to create safety by thinking every outcome into submission. You are the one who holds what I cannot see. You have not called me to carry tomorrow before it arrives, and you do not ask me to fix what is not yet broken. So why do I keep trying to think my way into peace? I admit that my thoughts often feel like a maze with no exit. I revisit old conversations, replay past mistakes, and forecast future failures. But none of this gives me clarity. It only builds tension. I ask you now to interrupt these loops gently. Give me the courage to pause mid-thought and redirect my focus back to you. I need you to steady my mind. Teach me how to recognize when a thought is no longer useful. Help me close it down the way I would a tab on a screen that no longer serves a purpose. Just because a thought enters my mind does not mean it deserves a seat in my spirit. Teach me discernment. Teach me to challenge what tries to settle inside me. Let truth rise up when assumptions try to take root. Father, I know I was not designed to live in a state of internal noise. You did not create me to be overwhelmed by speculation. I am not required to know everything, prepare for everything, or understand everything. I am only asked to trust. So I bring you these swirling thoughts. I bring you this mental momentum that feels so hard to slow, and I ask you to speak calm into it. Speak stillness into my storm of ideas. I give you permission to quiet what I have allowed to grow loud. I choose now to stop rehearsing arguments that may never come. I choose not to revisit what I already placed in your hands. And when I feel the urge to go back into those thoughts, remind me gently I already released that. I already surrendered that. Let my mind learn to rest again. Even now, I feel the tug to return to the familiar pattern. I want to explain myself. I want to analyze how I came across. I want to prepare a defense for something that has not even happened. But you are teaching me a new rhythm, a slower one, a freer one. You are showing me that peace is not found in control, but in trust. And trust requires letting go again and again until my soul finally believes it is safe to rest. God, I cannot change the way my mind works overnight, but I can start with this moment. I can choose now not to chase that next worry. I can choose to speak back to the spiral with a new sentence. You are here. You are good. You are in control. I do not have to keep running. I do not have to keep defending. I do not have to keep imagining what might go wrong just to stay prepared. Let your truth become the loudest voice in my mind. Let it echo louder than fear, stronger than doubt, deeper than shame. I do not want to build my day on assumptions. I want to build it on the foundation of your peace. Remind me that I do not need every answer to have clarity. I do not need to map out the entire day to know I am walking with you. I just need to take the next breath with intention, the next thought with surrender. I ask you now to shape my inner world. Let the roots of overthinking grow weaker with every prayer. Let trust take deeper ground. Let peace become my instinct instead of worry. Let stillness become familiar instead of foreign. And let my thoughts slow enough for me to hear the gentle sound of grace again. Thank you for understanding what I cannot always put into words. Thank you for seeing the cluttered places in my mind and entering them without judgment. Thank you for being the kind of God who does not rush my healing, but walks with me through it. I invite you into my thinking, my pacing, my processing. Teach me to walk in step with your peace. Teach me that clarity comes not from obsessing, but from trusting. And trust begins right now, with this prayer, with this breath, with this letting go. Father, you know how easily I try to take everything back again. Even after I have released a thought, a fear, or a decision into your hands. There is a part of me that keeps reaching for it, quietly, gently, like I believe I can manage it better if I just think it through one more time. But that gentle grasp becomes a tight grip. And soon, the very thing I handed to you begins to live inside me again, stealing my peace. I know this pattern, and I bring it to you now without hiding. I confess that I often confuse letting go with failure. It feels like giving up, like I am walking away from something I should be able to carry. But I am learning slowly, humbly, that surrender is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the sacred act of putting weight where it was always meant to rest. On you, not me, God. I have carried things that do not belong in my hands. Outcomes I cannot shape. Hearts I cannot change. Futures I cannot control. I have carried timelines, reactions, what-ifs, and worries like they were part of my responsibility, but they are not. They never were. And you are not asking me to carry them now. You are asking me to trust you with what is bigger than me. So I come to you this morning to do that again, and more fully than before. I name what I have been holding tightly. The unanswered questions that leave me alone. The decisions I feel pressure to make. The relationships that feel strained. The disappointments that still echo. And the fears that keep showing up dressed as preparation. I name them not to cling, but to release. Lord, teach me how to live without false control. Teach me how to find peace without certainty. I want to stop negotiating outcomes in my mind. I want to stop writing imaginary scripts of how everything could fall apart. I want to stop living in a state of defense, as if every moment is a battle I must win in advance. You never ask that of me. You only ask that I stay near, that I trust, that I let you lead. Right now, I choose to place into your hands what has been overwhelming mine. I hand over the financial stress that wakes me in the night, the health fears that whisper worst-case scenarios, the relationship dynamics I cannot fix no matter how hard I try, the grief that lingers, the pressure to make everyone happy, the feeling that I am behind. I release it all not because I have stopped caring, but because I believe you care even more. I know there will be moments today when I am tempted to take these things back. I will want to revisit the mental checklist. I will feel the need to solve, to analyze, to prepare. When that happens, remind me that releasing is not a one-time act, but a rhythm. A new rhythm I am learning in this very breath. I may have to let go 100 times today, but with every release, trust grows deeper, and peace lasts longer. God, help me shift from striving to trusting. Help me stop measuring my value by how much I can manage. My worth is not in my ability to hold everything together. It is found in you, the one who holds me when I cannot hold anything else. Let that truth settle deeper than fear. Let it rise louder than insecurity. Let it stay longer than anxiety. I want to live today with open hands. I want to walk without clutching at things I was never meant to control. Let my shoulders drop. Let my breath slow. Let my thoughts stop spiraling. You are not asking me to prove anything. You are asking me to rest in the truth that you are already working, already seeing, already making a way, even when I do not understand the timing, even when I do not see the result. When fear rises, remind me that you have not changed. When doubt creeps in, remind me of what you have carried me through before. When silence makes me question everything, remind me that you are still near. Teach my heart to believe what my eyes cannot yet see. Let trust become more than a word I say. Let it become the air I breathe. I do not need to know how it will all unfold to begin releasing. I only need to know that you are with me in the process, that you are not standing on the other side waiting for me to figure it out. You are here in this moment receiving what I offer, however clumsy, however incomplete, and you are kind. You do not shame me for the weight I picked up. You simply invite me to lay it down again. So I do. Gently, quietly, fully, I release the story I've been trying to write on my own. I release the assumptions that have shaped my expectations. I release the judgment I have held against myself. And I release the illusion that I must have everything figured out to walk in peace. Peace does not wait for perfection. It comes with surrender, and I choose it now. Let this act of release be the beginning of something new, a lighter day, a steadier heart, a deeper dependence. Let it echo beyond these quiet minutes and shape how I speak, how I think, how I carry myself. Let it shape how I respond when life does not go according to plan. Let it guide me when plans change, when people disappoint, when answers delay. Let me remember again and again, this is not mine to control. Father, you are capable, you are close, you are good, and you are enough. Let that truth become the anchor for this day. Let it calm my racing thoughts. Let it steady my emotions. Let it rewrite the script of panic and pressure with one clear sentence: I am not in control. and I am not alone. You are with me, and that is enough to begin again. Father, I can feel the shift happening. Slowly, gently, something inside me is loosening. I have been letting go of what I cannot control, laying burdens down one by one. And now, here I am quieter than before, yet not completely calm. Stillness feels unfamiliar. Even now, part of me wants to reach for something to fix, something to do, something to worry about, but I sense you asking me to stay here, not to move, not to plan, just to be. It feels vulnerable. This stillness, like standing in an open field without a shield. No preparation, no backup plan. Just me, exposed before you. And yet, you are not asking me to perform. You are not asking me to be strong. You are asking me to stop fighting within myself, to stop striving for answers I cannot reach, to stop bracing for the next thing. You are asking me to rest fully, deeply, not only in body but in spirit. Lord, you know how hard it is for me to stop. Even in the quiet, my thoughts rush, my fears whisper, my emotions shift like waves. I have been so conditioned to equate movement with meaning, effort with value, speed with success. Stillness feels like doing nothing. But you are showing me that being still is sometimes the bravest thing I can do, not because it is easy, but because it requires trust. I do not want to mistake stillness for weakness. Teach me to see it for what it truly is: sacred space. A space where you work beneath the surface. A space where roots grow deeper. A space where healing begins. I do not want to rush past it. I want to stay, even if it feels uncomfortable. I want to stay until peace is no longer fragile, but rooted, until silence is no longer awkward, but holy. Right now, I choose not to fill the quiet with noise. I resist the urge to explain, to fix, to plan. I choose not to force resolution. I choose not to chase clarity. Instead, I let myself sit in this stillness and trust that you are here with me, not waiting on the other side of the storm, but right here in the middle of it. Close, present, constant. God, I ask you to speak into this silence, not always with words, but with presence. Let your nearness be enough. Let it fill the space that anxiety once occupied. Let it settle the trembling inside me. When my heart begins to race with all that feels undone, remind me that not everything needs to be finished for me to be at peace. Some things need to rest, and so do I. I confess that part of me fears what might surface in the stillness. Old memories. Lingering disappointments. Questions I have pushed away. But if these things rise, I trust you to meet them with gentleness. I trust you to walk with me through them, not leave me to sort them alone. You do not bring things to the surface to shame me, but to free me, to lift what I have buried too deep for too long. Let this quiet become holy ground. Let me remember that it is not wasted time. Let me believe that waiting with you is not the same as being forgotten. I do not want to rush past what you are doing in this moment. I do not want to miss the hidden work that only stillness reveals. Give me the courage to remain heart open, hands unclenched, mind quiet. Lord, help me release the belief that peace only comes after the storm passes. Show me that peace can exist within the storm when I am anchored in you. Teach me to listen not for immediate answers, but for eternal truth. Teach me to value presence over progress. I do not need to keep moving to be held. I do not need to keep achieving to be loved. This stillness is not empty. It is full of you, full of quiet strength, full of unseen mercy, full of healing I did not know I needed. Let this space reframe my understanding of what it means to be strong. Let it undo the lie that says I must prove myself every day. I am already seen. I am already known. I am already loved. If today holds activity, let it begin from this posture of stillness. If today holds challenge, let me return to this center when the weight grows heavy. Let stillness become the place I return to. Not just once in the morning, but again and again. Whenever the noise grows loud, let it be my rhythm, my sanctuary, my reset. God, I do not want to wait until everything is calm around me to find peace within me. I want to learn how to be still even when life keeps spinning. I want to carry this inner stillness with me into conversations, into decisions, into moments of confusion or doubt. Let this peace become my protection. Let it guide my responses. Let it hold me when nothing else seems steady. Thank you for reminding me that I do not have to earn rest. I do not have to arrive at peace through performance. It is a gift, one I am learning how to receive. Help me receive it fully today. Not partially, not for a moment, but as a way of being. Let stillness mark the beginning of this day, not just in time, but in spirit. Let me move slowly, speak gently, and choose grace over hurry. Let me listen more than I plan. Let me pause before I act. Let me wait before I worry. Let me make space for you, not just with my words, but with my attention. I know you speak in stillness. I know you move in quiet. I want to know you more in this space, not just in my doing, but in my being. This moment may not look impressive, but it is holy. This choice to be still is not loud, but it is powerful. And in it, I trust you to do what I cannot see, to shape what I cannot fix, to restore what I cannot reach. This is where I remain still, steady, and surrendered in your presence. Lord, as I sit with this stillness that you are teaching me to embrace, I begin to see more clearly the space within me that needs protection. This peace I am learning to carry is delicate at first, like a new seed planted in fresh soil. And as with anything planted, what surrounds it matters. What I allow into this quiet space, what I give room to grow, will either nourish or disturb the peace you are cultivating in me. So, Father, I come to you this morning asking for wisdom, not just to release what does not belong, but to guard what does. Help me become aware of what I am welcoming into the inner sanctuary of my heart. Show me what thoughts I have left unchecked, what patterns I have normalized, what voices I have allowed to echo too long in silence. I confess that I have often treated my inner world like an open door, Let any thought or fear walk through without question. I let the news, social media, old memories, harsh words, and imagined scenarios enter and stay. I let them take up residence in places where peace was meant to live. I see it now how easy it is to lose peace, not by some great storm, but by 1,000 small permissions. One unchecked worry, one replayed insult, one assumption turned belief. God, teach me to be a keeper of my heart. Teach me to build quiet fences around my thought life, not out of fear, but out of reverence. Let me learn the difference between healthy reflection and harmful rumination, between examining truth and entertaining lies, between feeling emotion and feeding it until it consumes me. Let me become someone who hosts peace with intention. You said in your word that out of the heart flow the issues of life, and I see now how much I have let flow from a heart I did not fully guard. Cynicism, bitterness, overthinking, even self-protection that looks noble but stems from fear. I am not ashamed to admit this. I bring it to you not with guilt, but with desire. A desire to be shaped differently. A desire to be healed at the root, not just the surface. Lord, give me clarity about the things I allow myself to dwell on. When I catch myself rehearsing a moment that hurt me, remind me that I have the power to change the channel. When I find myself spiraling in fear over what might happen, give me the strength to speak peace back into that spiral. When I begin to internalize the lies of shame or unworthiness, help me recognize them as intruders, not residents. Help me not to confuse access with authority. Just because a thought enters does not mean it belongs. Just because a voice is loud does not mean it is true. Just because something feels familiar does not mean it is holy. I want my heart to be a sacred space, not a dumping ground for every emotion or idea that passes through. You have given me this soul to steward, and I want to honor that responsibility with gentleness and strength. Father, help me become more aware of the patterns that weaken me, the stories I tell myself about failure, the internal dialogues that tear down rather than build up, the subtle agreements I have made with fear, rejection, or the need to be perfect. I ask you now to gently uproot what has taken root that you never planted. I am willing, even if it is hard, even if it feels vulnerable. I would rather be tender and whole than guarded and exhausted. I invite you to examine the places I have hidden, the memories I have avoided, the thoughts I have let grow in the dark. Shine your light there, not to expose for shame, but to cleanse, to restore, to reorder. Let truth become the rhythm of my inner world. Let grace become the language of my thoughts. Let stillness not just be something I visit, but something I protect. God, I also ask you to make me aware of what I am feeding on, the voices I listen to, the content I consume, the conversations I engage in. Show me what builds peace and what breaks it. Let me have the discernment to say no, not because I am afraid, but because I am focused, because I know the value of what I carry within. Let me not live from reaction, but from intention. Let my emotional boundaries be built not out of fear of being hurt, but out of a deep understanding that my heart is valuable to you. that what I meditate on shapes my responses, my decisions, and my relationship with you. I want to live from a wellspring of truth, not a flood of unfiltered noise. Lord, help me not only to guard, but to cultivate. Let my heart not be a fortress, but a garden, a place where your spirit is welcome, a place where joy has room to grow, a place where peace takes root and expands, a place where kindness to myself and others begins. Teach me to water what is holy, to prune what is harmful, and to let die what no longer belongs. Today, I will be more aware, not in a fearful, rigid way, but in a reverent, grounded way. I will pay attention to what gets my attention. I will listen to what I tell myself when no one else is listening. I will guard my heart like something sacred, not fragile something to be honored, not hidden. Thank you for entrusting me with this heart. Thank you for not just cleaning the surface of my life, but wanting to live deeply within. I give you access again today. I welcome your correction as kindness. I welcome your conviction as love. I welcome your presence as peace. Teach me to live from the inside out clear, calm, rooted in you. Let this be the way I begin and the way I continue. Not once, but every day, not by force, but by choice, by grace, by trust. Father, now that I have begun to understand how to guard the space within me, I realize how much of that space I have unknowingly given to a quiet struggle, the deep, constant urge to explain myself. Even in stillness, even in surrender, even in moments of peace, there is a part of me that wants to defend, to clarify, to make sure I am understood. And this desire, though it often hides behind calmness, becomes a loud weight I carry without speaking. God, I bring this weight to you today. I am tired of the silent arguments I keep replaying in my head. I am tired of revisiting moments when I felt misunderstood, judged, or unseen. I am tired of constructing explanations for people who may never ask for them. Deep down, I think I have confused being understood with being safe. But you are reminding me that I do not need the approval of others to rest in your peace. I need only to trust that you know me completely and truly. There are so many conversations I have rehearsed in the silence of my mind. Times when I have wanted to justify a decision. Times when I have wished I could go back and say something differently. Times when I have stayed up late thinking about how someone may have perceived me. I carry these moments as if they define me, as if they hold the power to shape my worth. But they do not. Not really, not in your eyes. Lord, I need you to interrupt this pattern of self-defense that never leaves my lips, but lives constantly in my thoughts. Help me release the pressure to manage other people's opinions. Help me step away from the exhausting need to make everything make sense to everyone. Help me let go of the belief that I must always be interpreted the right way in order to be okay. I know now that peace does not depend on being understood. Sometimes it is found in the courage to remain silent when everything in me wants to explain. Sometimes it is found in knowing that you see the full picture even when others only see fragments. And sometimes It is found in trusting that clarity is not always necessary, not when grace is present. Father, I want to become someone who can walk away from a moment without carrying it for days. Someone who can leave a misunderstanding in your hands. Someone who does not need to win arguments in their imagination to feel whole again. I want to be free from the trap of proving my intentions over and over again in my mind. When the voice of insecurity rises and tells me I must clarify, let the voice of your truth rise louder. When shame whispers that I was wrong to speak, or too weak to stand up for myself, remind me that you are my defender. When my heart trembles under the weight of being misread, teach me to trust that what you know about me is more important than what anyone else thinks. Help me to stop fighting battles you never asked me to fight. The ones that play out in silence. The ones that drain me without ever being spoken. I do not want to keep building inner defenses. I want to build inner trust. Trust that you are the one who protects my reputation. Trust that you can handle what others think of me. Trust that even if they never understand, I am still deeply known by you. God, show me how to stay still when accusations arise. Whether they are spoken by others or by my own thoughts. Give me the courage to answer them with quiet confidence, not silence born of fear, but silence born of faith, the kind that stands without shaking, the kind that rests without needing to be right. I believe you are not asking me to explain myself to be accepted. You are asking me to rest in the acceptance I already have in you. I do not have to keep defending my actions, my feelings, or my boundaries to feel worthy. You already call me worthy. You already see the full story. You already understand what I meant even when my words failed me. Let this truth sink deep today. Let it replace the rehearsed arguments. Let it silence the imaginary responses. Let it quiet the defensiveness I carry in moments when I feel unseen. I want to move through this day with a steady spirit, not a reactive one. I want to live from a place of peace, not performance. Help me release the pressure to be perfectly understood, even by those I love, even by those who misunderstand me repeatedly. Help me release the weight of needing to explain my past, my growth, or my pain. You have walked with me through every step. You have seen the decisions I have made, the tears I have shed, the motives of my heart, and you have never once demanded an explanation, only surrender. Let my rest come from that surrender. Let me breathe deeper knowing I do not have to carry the burden of image, perception, or endless clarification. Let me trust that truth has its own strength. It does not need to be shouted to be real. It does not need to be argued to stand firm. And it does not need to be repeated in my mind 1,000 times to a value. Today, when I feel the urge to explain myself inwardly, help me pause. Help me speak to you instead. Let my energy go toward trust, not tension. Toward listening, not defending. Toward grace, not control. I am not here to prove anything today. I am here to walk with you. Thank you for being the one who holds my heart, my reputation, my misunderstood moments, and my quiet truths. Thank you for being the witness to every part of my life that others may not see. Thank you for giving me the freedom to stop explaining and start resting. In that freedom, I find clarity. In that rest, I find strength. In that trust, I find peace. God, as I let go of the need to explain myself, I begin to notice the deeper layer beneath it all: fear. Not always loud or obvious, but quiet and persistent. It lives in the background, feeding on what might happen, what could go wrong, what I might lose. It disguises itself as caution. It wears the face of preparation, but I know the truth now. Much of what I call planning is simply fear rehearsing disaster. Father, I bring you this fear today, not just the big fears that are easy to name, but the subtle ones, the ones that show up in the pause before I speak, the hesitation before I act, the tension I carry in my chest even when everything on the outside seems calm. I bring you the fear of rejection, of failing, of losing what I love, the fear that good things will not last, the fear that peace is too fragile. I lay them all at your feet, every hidden fear that has shaped my steps. I see how fear has influenced my thinking. It imagines the worst and asks me to believe it. It shows me shadowed versions of the future and calls them wisdom. It invites me to anticipate pain, just in case. It builds a story where everything falls apart and then dares me not to believe it. And somewhere in all of that, I lose touch with the present moment. I stop trusting what is real right now, and I start living in a world that only exists in my head. Lord, I do not want to give fear that kind of authority. I do not want to follow its instructions or build my day around its warnings. I do not want to speak from its voice or act from its urgency. You did not give me a spirit of fear, but one of love, of power, and of a sound mind. And so I ask you today to help me draw a boundary between fear that protects and fear that paralyzes, between caution that is wise and anxiety that is controlling. I confess that I have often welcomed fear because I thought it kept me safe. But now I see that all it does is keep me small. It keeps me from trusting. It keeps me from stepping forward. It keeps me from believing in what I cannot see. And it never stops asking for more of my attention. The more I listen, the louder it gets. The more I feed it, the stronger it becomes. So today, I choose to stop feeding it. God, I need you to speak truth to the places in me where fear has been allowed to grow. Remind me that you are not shaken by my uncertainty, that you are not absent when outcomes are unclear, that you are not only present in what I understand. You are present in the unknown, in the waiting, in the dark corners that fear tries to fill. Show me how to stand in the light of truth when shadows try to take over. Help me to name what I fear not so I can fix it, but so I can bring it to you. I am not afraid to be honest with you. I am afraid of being ruled by something that was never meant to lead me. I want to follow peace. I want to follow wisdom. I want to follow you. When my thoughts begin to spiral into worst-case scenarios, help me pause. Let that pause become a holy interruption. Let it break the pattern. Let it invite truth. Let it remind me that not everything my mind imagines is real. That just because a thought is loud does not make it true. That just because a fear is vivid does not mean it is prophetic. Father, I trust that you are with me in the places I fear the most. In loss, in failure, in change, in waiting. I do not walk through these things alone. Even if what I fear does happen, you will still be there. You will not abandon me at the edge of uncertainty. You are already in tomorrow, preparing what I cannot yet see. And that truth makes space for me to breathe again. Help me live from the truth that you are greater than what I fear, that your plans are not fragile, that your protection is not conditional, that your peace does not depend on my circumstances. Let this truth settle into my nervous system. Let it slow the panic. Let it soften the tension. Let it anchor me when my thoughts try to pull me away from the present moment. Lord, I want to live with courage, not because I know what is coming, but because I know you. Let my trust be louder than my fear. Let my faith be more familiar than doubt. Let my hope be more grounded than hesitation. Teach me how to stay rooted even when fear whispers that I should run. When I feel afraid today, and I know I might, help me pause. Help me breathe. Help me remember that fear is not my leader, that I do not owe it my loyalty, that I am allowed to say no to its narrative, that I am allowed to live free, even in uncertainty, especially in uncertainty. You are not a God of confusion. You do not speak in panic. You do not lead by pressure. So when those feelings rise, remind me that I am listening to the wrong voice. Draw me back to yours, the voice that calms storms, the voice that speaks peace into the middle of chaos, the voice that says, "Do not be afraid, for I am with you." Let that voice echo louder than fear. Let it become the soundtrack of my decisions. Let it color the way I see this day, not through a lens of dread, but through the lens of peace. I want to look ahead without flinching. I want to walk forward without retreating. I want to stand in this moment fully, knowing that whatever I face, I will not face it alone. Thank you for being patient with me when fear takes up space again. Thank you for gently calling me back when I start to drift. Thank you for being the steady place I can return to again and again. I do not have to pretend to be fearless. I only need to be faithful, to show up, to trust, to keep choosing you, even when fear tries to lead. And so I choose you again now. I choose to believe you are good. I choose to believe you are here. I choose to believe that I am safe, not because the future is certain, but because you are. Let that truth live in me louder than anything else today. Let it be the voice that leads, the hand that steadies, the light that guides, the peace that stays. Father, now that I have named the fears that try to shape my thinking, I begin to see that trust is not something I stumble into once and never need again. It is something I return to over and over like a well that never runs dry. I have learned to recognize fear's voice, but now I ask you to help me build the rhythm of trust, not just when things feel safe, but especially when they do not. I want trust to become more than a reaction. I want it to become a habit. God, I admit that part of me still wants trust to feel natural and easy. I want it to arrive without effort. But you are showing me that trust is not a passive feeling. It is a practice. It is a daily decision not just made in crisis, but chosen in the quiet, in the ordinary. in the unseen moments when I choose to believe what you said, even when I do not feel it yet. I do not want trust to be reserved only for emergencies. I want it to be how I start my mornings, how I walk through my days, and how I lay my head down at night. Lord, teach me what it means to live from a steady trust, not a situational one, the kind that is not based on whether things are going well or whether I understand the plan. I want to trust you because of who you are, not because of how things appear. And when the old thoughts return, the ones that say, I have to fix everything, the ones that pull me toward control, remind me again that trust is stronger than control. Let trust become the framework I build my decisions upon, not because I feel brave all the time, but because I believe you are still faithful even when I am uncertain. I do not want to wait for signs to believe you are working. I want to believe because you said you would be with me, and that promise alone is enough to steady my soul. God, when the day gets busy and the noise creeps in, bring me back to trust when I feel rushed or overwhelmed or unsure of what to do next. Let trust be the pause that centers me. Let it be the breath I return to when I have gone too far without you. Let it be the compass that points me back toward peace. I ask you to help me create new patterns in the way I think, speak, and respond. Patterns shaped by trust, not fear, not control, not self-doubt. When my mind wants to spin in circles, when anxiety knocks at the door, when impatience grows louder than faith, help me choose trust again. Not because I am pretending nothing's wrong, but because I believe you are already present in what is hard. Father, help me practice trust in small ways, too, in waiting for answers, in not knowing how a conversation will go, in resting when I feel guilty for not doing more, in releasing the need to be 10 steps ahead. Let trust shape the tone of my voice, the pace of my walk, the way I listen, the way I carry myself in rooms where I do not feel fully seen. Let it show up in how I treat people and in how I treat myself. I want this to become my rhythm: trust in the morning, trust in the middle, trust in the unknown. Let me no longer treat trust like a last resort. Let it be my starting point. Let it be my anchor. Let it be the place I return to when everything else feels uncertain. I do not want to keep cycling through panic and peace. I want to remain steady in you. Lord, I know I will still have days where it feels harder to trust, days when fear seems louder, days when old habits come back. But even on those days, let me reach for the practice of trust instead of the comfort of worry. Even if my hands shake while I let go, even if my heart feels unsure, I want to keep choosing you, one breath at a time, one moment at a time, one day at a time. Thank you for being patient as I learn. Thank you for not expecting perfection, but simply presence. You are not measuring how many times I get it right. You are walking with me as I learn how to trust you more deeply. That alone brings peace. That alone brings hope. That alone gives me strength. Help me simplify what I make complicated. When I do not know what to pray, help me say, I trust you. When I feel unsure, help me whisper, I trust you. When I want to run ahead or shrink back, help me breathe, I trust you. Let these 3 words become the rhythm beneath my breath, Let them become the quiet strength that undergirds my actions. Father, you see the places in me that still cling to old patterns, the reflex to control, the instinct to worry, the tendency to overanalyze. But I invite you into those places now, not to shame me, but to guide me, to replace those reflexes with something better, with calm, with wisdom, with peace that holds. Trust become the lens through which I see this day. Let it shape my attitude when plans change. Let it shape my thoughts when silence stretches longer than I expected. Let it shape how I respond to disappointment, to interruptions, to uncertainty. Let it shape how I talk to myself when I am tired, how I speak to others when I feel unseen. I do not want to just visit trust in moments of desperation. I want to live there. I want to build a home in that sacred place where fear loses its grip and peace has room to grow. I want to wake up each morning and say, I will trust you again, not just because I should, but because I want to, because I have tasted what it is like to live in anxiety, and I know that trust is better, lighter, kinder, true. God, meet me in this practice. Keep shaping my inner life so that trust is not an emergency measure, but a way of being. And when I forget, when I fall back into old patterns, when I lose sight of peace for a moment, gently lead me back without shame, without pressure, just with love, because that is who you are, and that is why I trust you. Not because I always understand what you are doing, but because I have come to know your heart, a heart that is faithful, a heart that is kind, a heart that leads, protects, and stays, a heart that never leaves, a heart that welcomes me back every single time. Lord, as I continue to learn the rhythm of daily trust, I realize how often I have looked too far ahead. I have stretched my thoughts into next week, next month, next year, trying to plan, trying to prepare, trying to stay ahead of disappointment. But in doing that, I have stepped out of the present moment, the only space where peace truly lives. You are showing me that grace is not something I can borrow for the future. It is something you give fresh for today. Father, I bring you this tendency I have to overreach. I know I do not mean to, but I often try to carry more than today's weight. I think about conversations that have not happened, problems I have not yet faced, outcomes that have not been decided, and before I know it, I am overwhelmed, not by what is real, but by what is imagined, not by the moment I am in, but by the ones I have created in my head. Help me learn the gift of enough strength for this morning, enough clarity for the next step, enough wisdom for the decision in front of me. I do not need to see the whole path. I do not need to control what is still ahead. I only need to walk with you right now. Let today be enough. Let this breath, this space, this hour be enough. Lord, I confess that I often confuse preparation with anxiety. I try to equip myself for things that might never happen, storing up mental energy for imaginary battles. But you did not ask me to stockpile peace. You asked me to receive it daily, like manna. Just enough for the journey, just enough for today, not because you lack abundance, but because you want to walk with me in real time, not from a distance. I want to learn how to stay here, not in yesterday, where regret sometimes lingers, not in tomorrow, where fear tries to live, but here in this sacred now, where you are present and kind and steady. Help me trust that your grace will meet me again tomorrow, when I wake up, and the next day, and the one after that. I do not need to hoard it. I just need to open my hands and receive it. God, when the temptation comes to worry about things that are not yet mine to handle, slow me down. When I start rushing into the unknown, bring me back. When my mind begins to fill with what-ifs and maybes, remind me that I am not designed to carry the weight of the future. That is yours. You are already there, and I can stay here. Teach me how to listen to the present moment, to hear what my heart needs now, to notice the people in front of me, to feel the ground beneath my feet. Let me taste the joy that lives in slowness. Let me breathe without bracing. Let me be fully alive in this day, not half living in tomorrow. I do not want to miss what you are doing today, because I am worried about what might happen next. I do not want to overlook the beauty around me because I am buried in mental preparation. I want to experience today with clarity, not as a stepping stone to something else, but as a sacred space where your love unfolds. Father, thank you for not asking me to be everywhere at once. Thank you for not demanding that I have all the answers. Thank you for gently reminding me that you have always been enough for every version of me, the confident, the scared, the tired, the hopeful. And if you were enough yesterday, you will be enough again today, and tomorrow too. I ask you to help me let go of the pressure to perform beyond this moment. Help me step out of the race I have created in my mind. Help me stop measuring myself against a future I have not even reached. I want to stop preparing for all the ways life could go wrong and start trusting in all the ways you are making it right. Let my thoughts come back to center when they drift. Let my emotions settle when they rise. Let my heart return to rhythm when it starts to race. Let me pause when I am tempted to rush. Let me breathe when I feel like I am falling behind. Let me remember that nothing lasting happens in panic, only in presence, only in peace. Lord, teach me to celebrate what is already here. The kindness that found me, the breath in my lungs, the small moments of quiet, the soft light of morning, the resilience I did not know I had, the calm that did not come from solving everything, but from trusting you in the middle of it all. I choose to believe that today will hold enough grace to face what I need to face, enough light to see what I need to see, enough strength to carry what I need to carry. Not more, not less, just enough. And that is a miracle in itself, to live in the simplicity of enough without fear of running out. When I am tempted to ask, what about tomorrow? Remind me that tomorrow will come with its own provision. When I feel like I need to get ahead, show me how to stay close instead. When I feel like today is not big enough, loud enough, productive enough, remind me that it is sacred, and it is yours. And because it is yours, it is enough. Let this be the posture of my heart as I move forward, not frantic, not forecasting, not forcing, but grounded, open, aware. Let me walk through this day holding hands with peace. Let me speak slowly. Let me choose gratitude. Let me carry joy like a gentle flame. Thank you for being the God of right now. Not just the God of breakthroughs, but the God of quiet stability. Not just the God of destiny, but the God of daily bread. Not just the God of mountaintops, but the God of early mornings. Ordinary hours and small mercies. Thank you for this portion of grace. I choose to receive it fully, not with fear, not with guilt, just with trust. And as I receive it, I release everything that is not for this moment. I release the future with its unanswered questions. I release the past with its unfinished stories. I release the pressure to stretch myself thin. And I come back to this breath, this place, this present, knowing that here, with you, I already have enough. Father, as I settle into the peace of knowing that today carries enough, I begin to feel the quiet ache that lives in my body, the tension I have ignored, the awareness I have brushed off, the heaviness that lingers even after my thoughts slowed down. I have come to understand that worry does not only affect my mind, it leaves its fingerprints on my shoulders, my breath, my sleep, and my strength. Today, I bring you the part of me that I often forget to pray for, my body. God, I confess that I have carried anxiety like a hidden weight. I have held it in clenched jaws, in tight muscles, in shallow breathing. I have moved through days on autopilot, unaware that my body was asking for help in ways I did not know how to give. I thought I was just tired. I thought I needed more sleep or more time. But sometimes, what I really needed was to stop, not just mentally, but physically, and invite you into the places where worry has taken up residence in my frame. Lord, I ask for healing now, not just the kind that comes from rest, but the kind that comes from presence, from your presence, from being still long enough to let peace move through my limbs, from letting go long enough for calm to reach my chest, from releasing expectations so that breath can return to rhythm. I want to live in a body that feels safe again, one that is not always bracing, always holding tension, always preparing for impact. I bring you the places that hurt, the tightness in my back, the pressure in my head, the stiffness in my neck, the flutter in my stomach, not just symptoms, but signals. My body trying to tell me what I was too busy or too afraid to name. I give it all to you now, with tenderness, not because I need a diagnosis, but because I trust you to be the healer of what I did not realize was broken. Father, I ask you to unwind the tension that worry has tied into my being. Let my shoulders fall gently from their guarded position. Let my hands unclench from the invisible battles they keep fighting. Let my jaw relax, my breath deepen, my chest rise without resistance. Teach my body how to feel peace again, not just as an idea, but as a physical experience. When I forget to eat or eat too much, when I move too fast or not at all, when I wake up tired or lie down restless, remind me to be gentle. Remind me that this body is not my enemy. It is not a machine to push. It is not a burden to ignore. It is the vessel you gave me to live this life. And I want to live it well, not just in mind and spirit, but in this physical form that breathes, aches, and holds the memory of both joy and sorrow. God, I surrender the fatigue that runs deeper than sleep can fix. I surrender the nervous energy I have mistaken for motivation. I surrender the subtle exhaustion that has become normal. I ask you to replenish what stress has drained, to restore what rushing has scattered, to revive what worry has worn thin. Let this be the beginning of a new way of inhabiting my life, with compassion for my body, with attention to its signals, with gratitude for its resilience. I do not want to keep living disconnected from myself. I want to listen, respond, and care in a way that honors both the spirit you placed in me and the body that carries it. When I feel tension rising again in traffic, in conversations, in deadlines or silence, help me pause. Let that pause become sacred, a place where you meet me in the middle of the moment and remind me to return to rest, not collapse, but restoration. Not escape, but renewal. Let peace be the language my body learns to speak. Lord, I ask you to bring healing to what worry has bruised overtime sleep patterns, immune responses, hormone balances, energy levels. I know you created my body with rhythms, with needs, with limits. Help me honor them. Help me see that surrender also means giving my body permission to rest, to receive, to recover. Let this morning become a turning point, not dramatic, but deliberate. Let it be the moment I stop ignoring the quiet cries for help from within. Let it be the moment I choose stillness not only for my soul, but for my cells. Let it be the day I choose to partner with your peace, body and all. When I feel guilt for slowing down, remind me that healing is not laziness, that rest is not weakness, that tending to my health is not selfish. It is wise, it is holy, it is responsible, because this life you gave me deserves more than survival. It deserves presence, vitality, wholeness. I want to show up fully, not halfway, not just externally, but truly present in the gift of this day. Thank you for giving me this body, imperfect as it is. Thank you for how it carries me, even when I mistreat it. Thank you for how it holds emotion, how it remembers, how it tries again after exhaustion. Thank you for its quiet strength, its persistent heartbeat, its willingness to keep going. I do not take it for granted. I do not want to treat it like a tool to push or a problem to fix. I want to treat it like a temple, a place where your spirit lives and where kindness must begin. Help me move differently today. Slower, softer, wiser. Help me notice tension and release it without shame. Help me listen to fatigue and respond without guilt. Help me breathe deeply and know that each breath is a gift, not a chore. Let movement feel like grace, not punishment. Let stillness feel like healing, not idleness. God, I ask you to fill every tired place with gentle strength. Let restoration come from the inside out. Let it begin with awareness, grow through care, and settle in peace. Help me build habits that restore, not just routines that produce. Help me sleep when it is time, laugh when it is needed. Nourish what I have neglected. Trust the signals that tell me when I need to slow down. Let today be marked by gentleness. Let it be a day when I walk in step with the Spirit, not the schedule. Let it be a day where my body feels safe, supported, and steady. A day where I do not brace for the next thing, but breathe into the now. A day where healing is not rushed, but welcomed. A day where peace flows not just in my thoughts, but through every fiber of my being. Father, after learning to slow my body and release the tension worry has wrapped around me, I now find myself standing in a quieter place. But in this calm, I am becoming aware of something else, not noise, not pressure, but uncertainty. I do not always know what comes next. The fog has not fully lifted. The peace is real, but so is the sense of standing at a crossroads, unsure which direction to take. I need clarity, not noise dressed up as direction, not urgency disguised as wisdom. I need the kind of clarity that comes only from you, God. I have spent so much time trying to think my way through decisions. I have made pros and cons lists. I have played out scenarios in my head. I have asked for advice, then second-guessed it. I have looked for signs, then doubted the ones I found. I admit that sometimes I confuse clarity with control. I want to know exactly how everything will unfold before I move forward. But you are showing me something different, that clarity does not always mean having all the answers. Sometimes it means trusting enough to take the next step anyway. Lord, I invite you into this space where decisions weigh heavy, into the places where I feel uncertain about timing, about direction, about people, about myself. I bring you the questions that keep circling, the ones that feel too small to bother others with, but too real to ignore. I ask for your voice to become the loudest one in this moment. Not through thunder, but through peace. Not through pressure, but through stillness. Not through explanation, but through presence. I do not need a 5-year plan today. I do not need every outcome mapped out. I just need to know what to do next, what to hold on to, what to let go of, what to wait for, what to walk toward. I trust that you see the whole road, that you are not pacing in heaven, wondering what will happen. You already know, and because you know, I do not have to pretend I do. I can stop striving and start listening. God, speak clarity into the places I have filled with confusion. Clear the fog where I have overthought. Quiet the fear that makes me question myself. Unravel the lies that sound like logic, but lead me in circles. Let truth settle where guessing used to live. Let wisdom rise where doubt has made its home. You said that if I lack wisdom, I can ask, and you will give generously. So I am asking now, not for certainty, but for wisdom. Not for perfection, but for peace. Show me what is mine to carry and what is not. Show me where to place my energy and where to step back. Show me what obedience looks like today, not in theory, but in action. Help me move with clarity, not because I figured it all out, but because I heard your whisper and trusted it enough to follow. Lord, I also ask for clarity in my inner world. Help me discern my own voice from yours. Help me recognize when my fear is speaking in disguise. Help me notice when I am trying to manufacture peace instead of receiving it. Sometimes clarity does not come because I have not asked. I have only tried to decide. So I pause now to ask, to listen, to receive. Let clarity come as gently as sunlight breaking through early morning mist. Let it shine into my relationships, into my work, into the things I have been praying for but have not yet seen shift, into the tension points that keep pulling me in different directions. Let me know what is for me and what is not. Let me sense when to wait and when to move. Let me be okay with not having the full picture. As long as I have your peace, God, if there is something I have been clinging to that is clouding my vision, help me let go. If there is something I keep picking up that is not mine to carry, help me release it. I do not want clarity if it comes at the cost of striving. I want the kind of clarity that comes from surrender, the kind that does not demand all the answers, but trusts the one who holds them. If the answer today is not yet, let me sit in that with grace. If the answer is yes, give me the courage to move forward. If the answer is no, help me trust that you are protecting something I cannot yet see. I do not want to manipulate clarity to match my desires. I want real clarity, the kind that gives me peace, even when it does not give me everything I asked for. Let me live in alignment with truth today. Let my thoughts be rooted in what is real, not in what is feared. Let my choices reflect a grounded trust, not reactive emotion. Let my words be guided by insight, not insecurity. Let me pause long enough to hear you before I respond, before I decide, before I act. Thank you for being a God who guides without pressure, who does not rush me, but gently invites me to walk with you. Thank you for being patient when I try to figure everything out on my own. Thank you for being present even in my uncertainty. I do not have to know everything when I am held by the one who does. Today, I walk forward with open hands, not gripping for signs, not grasping for guarantees, just open, ready to receive the next small step, ready to follow peace, ready to trust the inner nudge that comes from being still long enough to hear you. I believe that clarity is not something I earn by thinking hard enough. It is something I receive when I return to you. So I return again now. I give you this day and the moments it will hold. I give you my decisions, my distractions, my doubts. I give you my desire to do this right, and I receive instead your invitation to simply walk with you step by step, moment by moment, breath by breath. Let clarity rise in the stillness. Let peace mark my path. Let trust lead me into what is next. Lord, as I continue to wait on clarity, trusting that you will reveal what is needed in the right time, I find myself in the space where answers do not always come quickly. This is the space where silence stretches longer than expected, where prayers feel like echoes, where doors remain unopened, and resolution delays its arrival. It is here in the in-between that trust becomes more than a concept, becomes breath, it becomes choice. It becomes surrender in its most honest form. Father, I confess that waiting is not easy for me. I do not always know what to do with silence. I tend to fill it with assumptions. I try to read between the lines of life, interpret every delay as a sign, every answered prayer as a possible no. But you are showing me that not every silence means rejection. Sometimes it means protection. Sometimes it means preparation. And sometimes it just means wait. Help me learn how to wait well. Not passively, not with clenched fists or anxious pacing, but with open hands and grounded hope. I want to wait from a place of peace. Not panic. From trust. Not suspicion. I want to believe that what I do not yet see is still being shaped by you. That delay does not mean denial. That slowness does not mean absence. That your timing has never been careless. God, I bring you the H of wanting answers for relationships that feel unresolved, for dreams that feel distant, for decisions that remain unclear. I bring you the tension of not knowing, the restlessness that rises in the quiet, the questions I have asked more than once. You already know the weight of them. You already see the corners of my heart where longing lives. I do not need to explain it all again. I just need to bring it to you without filters, without pretending, without rushing. Lord, teach me how to live in the not yet, how to walk with grace in the hallway between where I have been and where you are leading me, how to hold on to peace even when progress is slow or invisible. Help me remember that your silence is not neglect, that even when I do not hear you, you are still speaking in ways I might not yet understand, through closed doors, through delayed outcomes, through the soft strength that carries me when I thought I would collapse. You are not withholding out of cruelty. You are shaping things that I cannot yet see. You are protecting things I do not know to ask for. You are growing roots beneath the surface when it feels like nothing is happening. And even in this quiet, you are near. Always near. Closer than my breath. I ask you now, not just for answers, but for alignment. Align my heart with what you are doing, even if I do not yet know the full picture. Align my attitude with your character, patient, gentle, steady. Align my expectations with eternity, not urgency. Let me see beyond the momentary delay and recognize that you are working in dimensions deeper than time. Help me embrace the discomfort of unanswered questions without letting them steal my peace. Let me be okay with living in the mystery for a little while longer. Let me resist the temptation to demand proof before I trust again. You never promised that I would have all the answers, but you did promise that I would never be alone in the waiting. Let this waiting not be wasted. Let it refine me. Let it soften what has been hardened. Let it humble what has been proud. Let it teach me how to be content without being complacent. Let it stretch my faith in ways that comfort never could. Father, I know you are not ignoring me. I know you have not forgotten. I know that what feels still is not stagnant. And even when I am tempted to believe otherwise, I will keep showing up. I will keep praying. I will keep trusting that you are not just writing a story, you are writing a good one with timing I might not understand, but purpose I can still believe in. Give me grace for the days when I grow tired of waiting, when patience wears thin, when I want to settle for what is quick instead of waiting for what is right. Give me discernment to know when to act and when to remain still. Let me follow peace, not pressure. Let me walk slowly enough to hear your whisper. Lord, help me find comfort not in having answers, but in having you. Let your presence be more reassuring than clarity. Let your nearness be more valuable than solutions. Teach me how to lean into you, not because I have figured everything out, but because I trust that you already have. When doubt tries to fill the silence, let truth rise louder. When fear whispers that nothing is changing, remind me of how far I have already come. When discouragement creeps in, let me remember the times you came through, before, not always early, but always on time. You have never abandoned me in the waiting. You want to start now. So here I am again, not asking for shortcuts, but asking for strength. Not asking for every answer, but asking for a steady heart. I will walk through this day with what I have, and what I have is enough, because you are with me, even in the pause, even in the hush, even in the spaces where the next step has not appeared yet. Thank you for shaping me in the waiting. Thank you for anchoring me when answers feel far. Thank you for being the one constant when everything else remains unresolved. I will hold on not with clenched fists, but with open hands, not because I know what is coming, but because I know who holds it. And that is enough for today, enough to breathe, enough to be still, enough to keep walking even without a map. Because even without all the answers, I am still being led. And even in the long pause, you are still moving. Father, even as I learn to sit patiently in places where answers do not come quickly, I notice another restless habit that still lingers in me, the need to hurry. Not always with my feet, but with my thoughts, with my expectations, with the inner narrative that says, I must be further along by now. It creeps in subtly, whispering that I am behind, that I am too slow, that I am somehow missing what matters. But you have been gently reminding me that real growth cannot be rushed, that holy things unfold on holy timelines, that your pace is steady and sacred. God, I bring you this internal pressure to speed up my life, to force clarity, to rush healing, to achieve more in less time. I have spent so much energy trying to accelerate what you are still shaping. I have confused urgency with purpose. I have mistaken pressure for calling. I have equated fast with faithful. But now I see how all of that has drained me. How hurry has not helped me live with intention, only with exhaustion. Lord, I want to unlearn the pace of the world and relearn the rhythm of grace. I want to trade striving for presence, multitasking for mindfulness, panic for peace. I want to stop measuring the worth of my day by how much I have accomplished and start measuring it by how deeply I have trusted, how kindly I have spoken, how gently I have moved. Help me step into today with a slower soul. Help me walk at the speed of wisdom, not urgency, Let every breath become a reminder that I am not late, that I am not behind, that I am right here in the only moment I can truly live, and that is where you meet me. You do not dwell in rush. You dwell in real time. You are not hurried. You are not anxious. You are not watching the clock. You are walking with me, moment by moment, step by step, and asking me to do the same. I surrender the fear that if I slow down, I will lose something, that if I rest, I will fall behind, that if I pause, I will miss the opportunity. You have never operated according to panic. You are the one who made time, who holds time, who works outside of time, and you are never late. If you are not in a hurry, then I do not need to be either. God, help me notice what I have been rushing through, conversations I have cut short, meals I have eaten without tasting, prayers I have mumbled out of obligation, mornings I have skipped over with thoughts already racing. I do not want to live a life I forget while I am still in it. I do not want to blur past beauty on my way to the next task. Slow me down until I can see again, until I can listen, until I can be where my feet are. When hurry shows up dressed as productivity, help me pause. When pressure rises to do more in less time, remind me that my value is not found in output. When anxiety tells me I need to fix it all now, teach me to breathe and wait. I want to trust your timing not only with big life decisions, but with the small movements of my day, the pace I walk, the tone I speak, the stillness I allow. Lord, I ask for wisdom in setting a better rhythm, one that honors both purpose and presence, one that allows room for margin, for rest, for reflection. Let me see where I am overcommitted. Let me name what is stealing peace in the name of being busy. Let me be brave enough to say no to things that do not belong in this season. Let me be bold enough to create space for what does. I do not want to fill my days so tightly that there is no room for wonder, no room for joy, no room for the sacred interruptions you send. Let me be interruptible again. Let me be available to the people right in front of me. Let me be open to moments that were not on my list. Let me hold a schedule loosely enough to follow peace wherever it leads. God, remind me that rest is not a reward. It is a rhythm. That slowing down is not something I earn after have done enough, but something I need in order to do anything well. That my soul cannot thrive in constant motion. That quiet is not wasted. It is restorative. It is where I hear you most clearly. Even when the world shouts for more, you whisper enough. Enough striving. Enough rushing. Enough running ahead. Today, I choose to walk differently. Not because I have reached some final revelation, but because I want to live from a deeper place, a place where joy is not postponed and peace is not pushed to the margins. Lord, help me feel safe enough to slow down. When I sense the urge to prove something, to catch up, to keep up, let me hear your voice inviting me to return to stillness. Let me remember that the most meaningful things are not built in speed, but in surrender, in quiet faithfulness, in showing up fully where I am. Thank you for not rushing me through growth. Thank you for walking with me through process. Thank you for seeing me not as someone who must perform, but as someone who is already loved even when I rest, even when I pause, even when I move more slowly than the world around me. Let this be the day I stop asking, how fast can I get there? And start asking, how fully can I live here? Let it be the day I stop chasing what is next and start noticing what is now. Let it be the day I listen more than I hurry, trust more than I race, and breathe more than I strive. I know that slowness is not weakness. It is intentional. It is wise. It is deeply spiritual. So help me embrace it as a gift. Let it soften my language, shift my posture, reset my nervous system. Let it lead me to rest without guilt and act without fear. Let me walk through this day unhurried, because you are with me. And you are never in a rush. And where you are, I am already right on time. Father, as I begin to walk more slowly and let go of the urge to hurry through my life, something unexpected begins to stir in me, the desire to feel joy again. Not just brief relief when something goes right, not just momentary happiness when things align, but a deeper, fuller, more grounded kind of joy, the kind that bubbles up from peace, the kind that is not dependent on everything being perfect, the kind that stays even when life does not go according to plan. But Lord, I admit that joy has felt like a luxury I do not always believe I am allowed to embrace. Somewhere along the way, I started treating it like a reward for productivity, like something I had to earn after all the work was done, after everything was fixed, after all the pain was gone. And yet, you are showing me that joy is not the end of the journey. It is meant to walk with me through the middle of it. God, I bring you the part of me that has learned to hesitate before feeling joy, the part that scans for danger when something good happens, the part that flinches when I laugh, as if it is too good to last. I do not want to keep living like I have to be constantly on guard. I do not want to treat joy like it is fragile or unsafe. I want to receive it freely, with open hands and a heart that no longer suspects goodness is temporary. Help me unlearn the reflex of guilt that tries to follow every good moment. Help me stop asking if I am allowed to feel light, to smile, to hope again. I know you are not glorified by my self-imposed heaviness. You are not asking me to carry a burden of seriousness that chokes out beauty. You created joy. You designed it as a strength, not a weakness. As nourishment, not a distraction. As evidence of your goodness in the land of the living. Father, I ask you to remind me what joy feels like without fear, without the weight of wondering when the other shoe will drop, without the voice that tells me I should be more serious, more focused, more burdened. Let joy become part of my healing. Let it soften the places where stress has lived. Let it flood into the rooms where silence and sorrow have stayed too long. I do not need joy that ignores pain. I need joy that coexists with it, the kind that walks alongside grief and says, "You can still laugh here." The kind that does not erase the hard parts, but make space for beauty within them. Teach me how to hold both sorrow and joy without guilt, without explanation. You are the God of both. You meet me in both. Lord, show me the moments of joy already present in my life, the ones I have rushed past or overlooked, the smell of fresh morning air, the sound of someone's voice I love, the warmth of light on my face, the quiet accomplishment of showing up when I did not feel like it, the peace of silence that does not feel empty. Let me learn to name these things as joy, not small or unimportant, but holy and enough. I do not want to delay joy until everything is resolved. I do not want to postpone celebration until there is nothing left to worry about, because if I wait for that, I may never allow myself to truly feel alive. I want to rejoice in the middle. I want to dance with hope even if my feet are tired. I want to laugh without constantly looking over my shoulder. I want to taste the sweetness of the moment without suspicion. God, I give you permission to surprise me with joy, to lead me into moments that feel light and unburdened, not because I have earned them, but because you are good. Let joy become a practice, not an accident, something I cultivate, not just something I stumble into. Let it be woven into the rhythm of my days like breath, like prayer, like sunlight breaking through slowly after a long storm. If I have equated maturity with sorrow, help me rewrite that belief. If I have tied responsibility to heaviness, help me untangle that lie. Let me see that joy is not the enemy of depth, that I can be both grounded and light, focused and free, present and playful. Let my faith make room for joy, not just endurance. Lord, remind me that joy is an act of resistance, that choosing to delight in goodness is not naive but courageous, that rejoicing in the middle of uncertainty is not denial but defiance against despair, that joy is a language of heaven, not just an emotion of earth. Let me speak it fluently again. When I wake in the morning, help me not to brace for the day, but to look for moments of delight. When I go through my tasks, help me not to rush them, but to savor them. When I speak to others, let laughter and warmth be part of my words. When I move through quiet hours, let me notice beauty that whispers, "You are allowed to enjoy this too." Thank you for creating joy as something sacred. Thank you for placing it in both the loud celebrations and the silent spaces. Thank you for not asking me to choose between being whole and being light. You are the one who gives beauty for ashes, gladness for mourning, praise instead of despair. You trade heaviness for hope not just once, but as many times as I return to you. So I return now, asking not for a perfect day, but for a joyful one where I remain open to goodness without guilt, one where I let go of the need to earn what you freely give, one where I no longer shrink joy to fit inside my fear, but expand my capacity to receive it fully, freely, without explanation. Let joy become my new language. Let it echo louder than anxiety. Let it settle deeper than worry. Let it grow stronger than guilt. Let it be planted in this moment, watered by gratitude and nourished by grace. Let it live here in my breath, in my words, in my spirit as both a gift and a testimony that you are still with me, and you are still good. Father, after letting joy take root again, not as a reward, but as a rhythm, I find that something sacred begins to awaken in me. A soft, deep current I had overlooked for too long. Gratitude, not the kind I force out of obligation, not the kind that feels performative or polite, but the kind that flows naturally when I stop rushing, stop bracing, and finally notice what has been here all along. Lord, I realize that gratitude is not always loud. It does not always look like celebration or sound, like praise songs shouted from the mountaintop. Sometimes, it arrives quietly in a long exhale, in a subtle smile, in the way I linger a little longer in the present moment. It is the whisper that says, even in the middle of what is unresolved, even before the breakthrough, there is still something beautiful here. God, I bring you the parts of me that have forgotten how to give thanks without conditions, the parts that have unintentionally placed gratitude at the end of answered prayers, instead of right here in the waiting, in the wandering, in the wondering. I want to learn how to say thank you, not just after I see your hand, but while I trust your heart. I want my gratitude to be rooted in who you are, not just in what you do. Help me recognize the sacredness of this ordinary moment. Help me notice the sunlight stretching across the wall, the breath that returns to rhythm without me asking, the small provision I almost missed because I was searching for something bigger, the quiet strength that carried me through the night. These are not small things. These are signs of your nearness, and they are worthy of my thankfulness. Lord, when my mind starts cataloging what is missing, gently redirect me to what is already present. When comparison begins to stir discontent, remind me that gratitude and envy cannot coexist in the same heart. When I feel like I have been overlooked or passed by, help me see that nothing you give is wasted, that even the pauses, the detours, the delays, they all carry purpose, even if it is hidden. I do not want to keep waiting for everything to feel right before I give thanks. I want to become someone who finds you in the middle of the mess, who sees you in the tension, who worships with empty hands and an open heart. Gratitude is not an afterthought. It is a way of being, a lens, a foundation, and I want to live from it. God, I also bring you the guilt I sometimes feel when I struggle to be thankful. When my heart feels heavy and gratitude does not come naturally. You are not asking me to fake it. You are not waiting for a perfect performance. You are simply inviting me to come back again and again to the quiet acknowledgement that you are still good. Even when life feels hard, gratitude does not deny the struggle. It reframes it. It creates space for grace to move. Teach me how to return to thankfulness when I drift. Let gratitude become the path that leads me back to peace. When fear flares up, when uncertainty clouds my view, when weariness settles in, let the question not be, how do I fix this? But what can I give thanks for right here? What can I remember about your faithfulness? What beauty is still unfolding? Lord, let me carry gratitude like a compass, not a destination, but a direction, something I choose to face again and again, especially when the world gives me every reason not to. Let it be my rebellion against despair. Let it be my defiance against bitterness. Let it be my anchor when nothing else feels steady. When I see someone else receive what I have been praying for, let gratitude teach me how to bless them, not resent them. When progress is slow, let gratitude teach me how to honor small steps. When answers are unclear, Let gratitude help me rest in the fact that you still hold the bigger story. Thank you for not withholding your goodness until I finally noticed it. Thank you for the mercies I missed, the ones you still gave anyway, for the comfort I did not know I needed until it arrived, for the people who showed up when I felt alone, for the laughter that interrupted sorrow, for the breath that returned in the middle of a panic. Thank you for all of it, the loud graces and the quiet ones. Help me keep a soft heart, one that stays grateful even in the repetition of life. One that does not numb itself with routine. One that still marvels at small wonders. That still pauses for beauty. That still opens its hands to receive. Even after disappointment, let me become someone who carries thanksgiving in the way I speak, in the way I serve, in the way I wake up and move through the day. God, let gratitude shape the way I see everything. Let it color how I view others with compassion instead of criticism. Let it shape how I talk about my life, not as a list of what is missing, but as a story still unfolding with your fingerprints all over it. Let it soften how I see myself, not as someone always falling short, but as someone continually held and continually loved. Today, I choose to be fully here, to notice, appreciate, to say thank you, not because everything is perfect, but because your presence is. Thank you for the grace to begin again, for the strength to keep going, for the joy that finds me unexpectedly, for the hope that quietly holds me together, for the peace that does not always make sense, but always feels like you. Let this spirit of gratitude stay with me as I go in conversations, in conflict, in celebration, in silence. Let it be the undercurrent of my thoughts, the echo beneath my prayers, the posture I return to when I forget, the soil where peace grows, the lens that reminds me I am not lacking, I am not forgotten, I am surrounded by goodness even when life feels uncertain. So I open my eyes again to beauty, to mercy, to the miracle of simply being alive today. And in this breath, in this moment, in this small pause before I step forward, I whisper what may be the most powerful prayer of all. Thank you, Lord. As I linger in this renewed spirit of gratitude, I begin to notice the corners of my heart where self-judgment still hides. Even while saying thank you, even while walking more slowly, more gently, more joyfully, there is a quiet H I can no longer ignore. It is the part of me that still carries shame for not always getting it right, for being too harsh with myself when I fell short, for believing I had to be flawless to be loved even by you. Father, I know you have never asked for perfection, but somehow I have spent years chasing it anyway. I have measured myself against invisible standards set by fear, comparison, and the silent lie that I must prove my worth. And even when I knew better in my head, my heart still believed that being good enough meant being everything for everyone, all the time. I bring that belief to you now. I bring the guilt I have carried for mistakes I've already repented of. I bring the self-blame I have rehearsed like a script. I bring the memories I still wince at. I bring the inner voice that tells me I should be known better, done better, been better. I bring it not to justify it, not to excuse it, but to finally surrender it, because I do not want to keep punishing myself for things you have already forgiven. God, help me forgive myself, not casually, not with empty affirmations, but with the same grace you have so freely extended to me. Help me believe what you have already spoken, that I am forgiven, not because I earned it, but because you are merciful. Help me release the narrative that keeps looping in my mind, the one that says, "You will never get it right." Replace it with your truth that healing is a process, not a performance, that growth takes time, that sanctification is messy and holy all at once. Lord, teach me how to stop holding myself to a standard you never placed on me. You are not asking for constant strength. You are not measuring me by flawless days or spotless records. You are asking for surrender, for trust, for a heart that returns again and again, even when it feels unworthy. And I want to be that heart, not because I have everything figured out, but because I know you do. I confess that I have been more patient with others than I have with myself. I have forgiven quicker, offered compassion faster, given the benefit of the doubt more easily to everyone but the person I see in the mirror. I do not want to keep living that way. I want to treat myself like someone who is loved by you, someone worth gentleness, someone you look at without condemnation, someone you already call chosen, redeemed. Enough. God, I ask for healing in the places where shame has burrowed deep, not just healing from what others did or did not do, but from what I have done to myself with my words, with my expectations, with the punishment of never letting myself rest. Help me rewrite the script. Help me speak to myself as you would kindly, clearly, with truth and tenderness. Let me grieve what needs grieving, but not stay stuck there. Let me learn what needs learning, without layering it in shame. Let me own my part, and then let go, not because I am ignoring it, but because I have faced it and chosen freedom over self-condemnation. Let forgiveness take root not only toward others, but within me, so I no longer carry what you have already covered. When I feel tempted to replay my failures, remind me that you do not. When I catch myself spiraling into regret, remind me that you redeem. When I want to disqualify myself, remind me that you have already called me by name. You are not keeping score. You are not keeping a record of wrongs. You are not waiting for me to finally be perfect. You are simply waiting for me to come home again and again, no matter how many times I fall. Lord, help me embrace the freedom that comes with self-forgiveness. Let it soften the tension I carry. Let it loosen the grip of perfectionism. Let it allow me to show up fully, even when I feel flawed. Let it make space for laughter, for creativity, for human moments that do not have to be hidden. Let it be the start of a gentler way of living, one that honors growth, not just outcomes. I ask you to guide me in rebuilding my relationship with myself. Show me how to walk with grace, even as I stumble. Teach me how to rest without guilt, to try without fearing failure, to risk without bracing for rejection. Let self-forgiveness become a holy rhythm, a quiet revolution inside of me, a daily practice of remembering I am not the mistakes I have made. Thank you for being the kind of father who does not withdraw love when I mess up. Thank you for whispering comfort when I would be shouted shame. Thank you for waiting patiently when I ran away, and for embracing me each time I return. I do not want to live in the shadow of past failures. I want to live in the light of present grace. Today, I choose to believe that I am no less loved in my weakness than I am in my strength. I am no less accepted when I am learning than when I am succeeding. I am no less worthy when I fall than when I rise. That is the truth you offer me, and I want to build my life upon it. Let this be the beginning of a deeper freedom, one that does not depend on perfection, but rests in grace. One that allows me to breathe easier, to look back without cringing, to look forward without dread, to stand where I am with open hands and an unburdened soul, because I am forgiven, fully, freely, finally. Let that be enough today, enough to quiet the noise, to lift the weight, to return to joy, to remember who I am. And when I forget again, bring me back gently, back to grace, back to truth, back to the quiet courage of forgiving myself not once, but as many times as needed, and continuing forward with hope. Lord, after learning how to release the impossible standards I have set for myself, after loosening my grip on the version of perfection I thought I had to become, I now find myself face to face with another hard truth. There are things in this life I simply cannot control. And as much as I want to believe that I have surrendered, as much as I speak of trust and peace, there are still parts of me clenched tightly around outcomes. Relationships, timing, and understanding. Father, I bring that part of me to you now, the part that flinches when I realize I do not have the answers, the part that panics when circumstances shift suddenly, the part that keeps reaching for reassurance, proof, confirmation, something to help me feel like I am still in charge, but I am not, and I was never meant to be. And the longer I resist the truth, the more I wear myself thin trying to control what was never mine to hold. God, I want to trust you with the uncontrollable, not as a spiritual theory, but as a lived practice. I want to trust you with the people I love, not manipulating, not micromanaging, not carrying guilt for what is not mine to fix. I want to trust you with my future, not rehearsing every possibility, not bracing for worst-case scenarios, not obsessively preparing for things that may never come. I want to trust you with today even when it does not unfold the way I planned. Lord, help me recognize the false comfort of control, how I sometimes confuse activity with peace, how I use overthinking as a shield, how I tell myself that if I just plan more, try harder, do better, I will finally feel safe, but it never lasts, because control is not peace. It is pressure, it is heavy, it is fragile, and it cracks under the weight of the unknown. You did not design me to carry the whole world. You never asked me to predict the future. You never told me that my worth is measured by how well I hold things together. You told me to cast my cares, to lean not on my own understanding, to be still and know. And if I believe you are who you say you are, good, wise, sovereign, near then I can let go, And letting go is not defeat, it is freedom. Father, I surrender what is not mine. I surrender the outcomes I cannot dictate, the timing I cannot rush, the responses I cannot control, the stories that are still unfolding. I surrender my craving for certainty, my addiction to answers, my urge to be one step ahead. I surrender the illusion that I must manage everything to be okay. Give me the grace to stay present in what I can do to show up, to speak love, to live gently, to trust deeply, and to release the rest. Let my heart stop spinning every situation into a problem I need to solve. Let me stop trying to play the role of savior when you are already in control. Let me trust that you are working in ways I can see, and that you are faithful even when I feel unsteady. God, when I am tempted to reach back into what I have laid down, remind me why I surrendered it in the first place. When anxiety whispers that I should take things back into my own hands, speak louder with your truth. Remind me that surrender is not passivity, it is active trust. It is saying, I believe you are better at this than I am, and I am willing to follow, even when I do not understand. Let peace rise up in the places where I have only known control. Let rest replace my reflex to manage everything. Let joy find its way into the spaces I once filled with plans. Let faith guide the choices I used to base on fear. And when the outcome is not what I prayed for, help me still believe in your goodness, because my trust cannot only live in answered prayers. It must also live in the mystery. Father, help me to remember that some things will remain unresolved, not because you are not working, because you are doing something deeper than resolution. You are shaping me in the waiting. You are strengthening me in the uncertainty. You are teaching me that peace is not the absence of chaos, but the presence of you right here, in the middle of all I cannot control. Thank you for not being shaken by what unsettles me. Thank you for holding steady when I falter. Thank you for being the anchor when my emotions rise and fall. Thank you for being trustworthy, even when I forget how to trust. I do not need to be in charge to be okay. I only need to be held, and I am. So today, I choose again to let go. Not because I have figured everything out, but because I trust that you already have. I let go of trying to impress. I let go of trying to convince. I let go of trying to make things happen on my timeline. I let go of the weight of being everything to everyone. I let go of the shame that tells me surrender is weak. I let go because you are strong, and I am safe in you. Teach me how to live hands open, heart open, soul open. Not clinging, not closing off, not demanding, just willing to be led, to be shaped, to be loved through every moment that does not go according to my plan. Let that be enough. Let that be peace. And if I need to surrender again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, remind me that is okay too. You do not tire of my return. You do not shame me for needing to try again. You meet me with grace each time. And that grace is strong enough to hold everything I can so I will breathe deeper, unclench my fists, and trust you with what I cannot control again and again, until that trust becomes my way of life. Father, now that I have begun releasing the need to control what is not mine to hold, I feel a strange stillness settle in the space control once occupied. It is unfamiliar at first, like silence after noise, like calm after chaos, but slowly I recognize it for what it is: peace. Not the fragile kind that depends on circumstances lining up, but the kind that comes quietly, confidently. When I finally stop grasping for control and choose to live fully in the present moment. God, I have spent so much of my life somewhere else, replaying the past, bracing for the future, rushing through the now as if the present is only a bridge to somewhere better. I have carried the weight of yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's worries while barely noticing the ground beneath my feet. Today, but you are inviting me to be here, to live this moment not as a rehearsal or a detour or an obligation, but as the only place where life truly happens. Lord, help me return to this breath, this hour, this step. I do not want to live in theory or what-if scenarios. I want to live in the reality of now, not ignoring the future, but not abandoning the gift of this present either. Let peace meet me right here, not as something I strive for, but as something I notice when I stop striving altogether. I do not want to miss the grace you have placed in this day, because I am too distracted by what has not happened yet. Teach me how to slow down not only my pace, but my attention, to pause long enough to really see, to fully listen without thinking of how I will respond, to experience small joys without rushing past them. Let peace rise not as a distant promise, but as a felt presence. Let it be rooted not in outcome, but in awareness, because you are in this moment, not only in the mountaintops of victory or the valleys of hardship, but here in the middle, in the ordinary, in the in-between. Father, I confess how often I measure the value of a day by how productive I was, how many boxes I checked, how efficiently I moved. But you measure differently. You look for presence, not performance, connection, not completion. And the more I tune into you, the more I realize that peace grows where striving ends, that the most sacred moments are often the quiet ones, unnoticed by the world, but deeply known by you. Let me be awake to the miracle of this moment, to the breath that moves through my body without asking, to the kindness in a stranger's smile, to the comfort in silence, to the softness of light through a window. These are not interruptions or filler. They are life itself, and I want to be alive to it all, not distracted, not disconnected, but fully present. God, when my mind begins to wander into fear or regret, gently draw me back. When I start to script conversations that have not happened or rehearse worries that have not come true, remind me that this moment needs me more than the imaginary ones do. I do not want to be consumed by stories I have written in my head. I want to be available for the one you are writing in real time. Let peace become my default posture, not because everything is easy, but because I am finally learning to trust that you are here, in the laughter and the loneliness, in the plans and the pauses, in the clarity and the questions. I do not have to understand it all to be at peace. I only have to stay close to you, and you are always near. Help me make space for stillness today, not just on the outside, but on the inside. Let my thoughts stop racing. Let my heart stop clenching. Let my spirit find rest even while I work, even while I walk, even while life continues moving. Let peace come not after everything is done, but during, in the middle of errands, of meetings, of chores, of prayers whispered while the day unfolds. Lord, show me how to bring this peace into everything I do, into how I speak, how I listen, how I respond when something unexpected comes. Let peace anchor my reactions. Let it shape my presence. Let it be felt by the people around me, not because I am trying to project it, because I have allowed it to fill me first. I ask you to help me protect this peace, not in a defensive way, but in a sacred way. Let me say no when I need to. Let me unplug when my soul needs silence. Let me rest without apology. Let me resist the pull to overextend, overcommit, or overperform just to feel valuable. My worth is not up for negotiation. It has already been settled by you. Thank you for reminding me that peace is not a passive absence of conflict. It is an active presence of trust. It is the deep knowing that I am held, seen, loved right now, as I am, in this exact moment. I do not need to fix myself to feel it. I do not need to resolve every issue to earn it. I only need to pause long enough to receive it. So here I am, pausing, not because I am lost, but because I want to live fully, because I want to stop missing my life while chasing it, because I want to honor the sacredness of being alive, awake, aware, grateful, because I want to move through this day not as a storm to survive, but as a gift to open slowly. Let this peace be more than a feeling. Let it become my rhythm. Let it be the tone of my words, the calm beneath my choices, the lens through which I see both myself and others. Let it linger when I leave a room. Let it remain even when plans change. Let it be the foundation I return to when life moves faster than I would like, and when the world tries to pull me back into chaos, distraction, and hurry. Remind me again I can always return, back to this moment, back to this breath, back to you, because here is where peace lives, not in a destination I must reach, but in the stillness where I choose to be, fully here, fully held, fully alive. Father, as I rest in the peace of this present moment, I am reminded that peace and fear often walk side by side. I have spent much of my life waiting for fear to disappear before I stepped forward, believing that courage was the absence of fear. But you are teaching me a different truth, that sometimes courage is walking anyway, that peace does not mean the path is easy, only that you are in it with me. And even now, as I breathe deeper and trust more, there are still things that make my heart hesitate. Lord, I bring you the places where fear still lingers, the quiet corners of my mind where doubt speaks softly, the edges of my story that still feel fragile, the decisions I have not yet made, the conversations I avoid, the dreams I have delayed. I bring them not to hide them, but to hold them up to your light, because pretending I am not afraid does not make me brave. It only keeps me bound, and I want to walk free. God, help me walk with courage, even when my hands shake, even when I do not know the ending. even when I still carry the memory of past pain. Let courage be more than a feeling. Let it be a choice, a posture, a quiet yes whispered beneath the roar of what-ifs. Let it be rooted not in my ability, but in your presence, not in my strength, but in your faithfulness. I have believed the lie that courage belongs only to the strong, to the confident, to the ones who move without flinching. But now I see that courage belongs to the wary too, to the uncertain, to the ones who keep showing up, even with trembling hearts. So I bring you my trembling. I bring you my honest, unfiltered fear, not asking you to erase it instantly, but to walk with me through it one step, one breath, one moment at a time. Lord, I do not ask for a life without fear. I ask for a heart that trusts you more than it trusts fear's voice. When I feel unqualified, remind me that you never chose people based on their resumes. When I feel overwhelmed, remind me that you are not calling me to carry it alone. When I feel like I can't, whisper again that you can and you are with me. Let courage look like small steps today, like sending the message I have been avoiding, like finishing what I started, like setting a boundary, like telling the truth, like resting when I have tied my worth to productivity, like starting something new, like forgiving what hurt. Let courage rise in ordinary moments, not just dramatic ones. Let it become part of how I breathe, how I love, how I live. God, help me stop waiting for the perfect moment. Help me stop waiting to feel fully ready. The world may never be predictable. My heart may never feel completely safe. But I do not need guarantees to move. I only need to trust that you are walking with me, and that will be enough. Show me how to keep going even when the outcome is uncertain. Help me live from the belief that obedience is not about results, but relationship, that success is not always visible, that faithfulness is sometimes quiet, sometimes hidden, sometimes simply choosing to try again. Let fear lose its grip each time I choose love instead. Each time I speak when silence feels safer. Each time I stay when running is easier. Each time I show up vulnerable when I would rather hide. Let these choices, made over and over, stitch together a life that reflects not fearlessness, but deep, quiet courage. Lord, I do not want fear to lead anymore. I do not want it to write my story, shape my steps, or mute my voice. Let it be present, but not in charge. Let it be acknowledged, but not obeyed. Let it become a reminder not that I am weak, but that I am human. And that even in my humanness, you are still God. Still able, still holding me together. Thank you for reminding me that courage is not a constant roar. It is the steady rhythm of moving forward when everything in me says to shrink back. It is the grace to try, to hope, to believe there is still more ahead. Thank you for not asking me to eliminate fear, but for inviting me to walk through it, strengthened by trust, steadied by your love. Today, I choose to move forward even if I move slowly. I choose to say yes even with a shaky voice. I choose to try even if I do not know what is next, not because I am fearless, but because you are faithful, and your faithfulness is greater than anything. that could come against me. Let courage become part of how I see myself, not just as someone surviving, but as someone becoming, someone growing, someone rising into who you created me to be. Let me speak courage over others, too. Let me call out the bravery in them. Let me celebrate their small victories, their quiet resilience, their unseen battles. Let this day be marked not by how much I feared, but by how often I returned to trust. Let courage not be measured in how far I go, but in how open my heart remains, how often I try again, how honestly I bring you my fear, and how consistently you meet me there with peace. So here I am again, Lord, with knees that bend even when my voice shakes, with hands that reach even when the outcome is unknown, with a soul that dares to believe that peace can live alongside fear. And that courage is not about being unafraid, it is about moving anyway. Because you are here, and you are enough, God. After finding the strength to walk forward, even while afraid, I now find myself looking ahead not with fear this time, but with the quiet question that lingers beneath so many of my thoughts. What comes next? And though I know better than to expect a full roadmap, there is still a part of me that longs for clarity, for assurance, for something solid to build on. And yet again, you invite me to choose something deeper than certainty. You invite me to choose hope. Father, I bring you my fragile hopes today, the ones I have barely dared to name, the ones I have tucked away after disappointment, the ones that flicker faintly when life feels too unpredictable. These hopes do not roar, they do not shout, they whisper, and I have been afraid to lean in, afraid they might be too much to ask, afraid I would only find silence on the other side. But today, I want to believe that you are not afraid of my hopes, that you welcome them, that you see them even before I can speak them. I do not want to live a life built around fear of what might go wrong. I want to live a life shaped by the quiet confidence that goodness is still ahead, not because I have earned it or because life guarantees it, but because you are good. You are working even in the silence. You are writing a story with more chapters than I can see. And I do not want to miss the beauty of what is coming, because I am too focused on protecting myself from what not. Lord, hope does not always come easily. It requires vulnerability. It asks me to believe in things I can't yet touch. It invites me to keep going when the road disappears into fog. It calls me to trust that new beginnings are possible, even in places where I have only known endings. And today, I want to say yes to that invitation. Even if my voice shakes, even if I do not yet feel ready, I want to be someone who hopes anyway. God, help me let go of the need to see the whole picture before I move forward. Let me embrace the grace of walking slowly with hope in my hands, trusting that you are leading me even through shadows. Let hope become more than just a feeling. Let it be the compass that points me back to you when everything else feels unsure. Let it remind me that the future is not empty, it is already filled with your presence. Remind me that hope is not about knowing what will happen. It is about knowing who will be with me, no matter what happens. That is enough for me. Let that be the truth I carry into tomorrow, not the illusion of control, but the unshakable promise that I am never alone. When the future feels unclear, help me name what I do know. I know you have been faithful every step behind me. I know you are with me now. I know you have never wasted a season of waiting, a moment of silence, or a tear I thought had no purpose. I know that you bring beauty from ashes, light from darkness, redemption from what felt lost. So even if I cannot see what is ahead, I will plant my hope in who you are. Let me release the pressure to predict or plan every detail. Let me breathe in the freedom of not needing to have it all figured out. Let me learn to rest, to move, to trust without constantly scanning the horizon for signs. Let hope be a steady rhythm in my chest, not frantic, not desperate, but calm and rooted and sure. God, I also bring you the grief that lives alongside my hope, the ache of dreams deferred, the shadow of what did not turn out the way I imagined. Hope does not mean denying those losses. It means choosing to believe that loss does not get the final word, that pain is not the end of the story, that something new can still grow where something else broke. Let hope rise not as a fragile wish, but as a fierce act of faith. Let it push back against despair. Let it rise like dawn after the longest night. Let it color my prayers, my plans, my posture toward the world. Let it influence how I speak, how I respond, how I carry myself. Let it change the way I look at people, seeing not just where they are, but what is possible for them too. Thank you for being the God of renewal, of second chances, of stories that do not end where I thought they might. Thank you for not asking me to pretend I am fearless, but for giving me the courage to hope in the face of fear. Thank you for the reminders you send, the quiet moments, the unexpected kindness, the glimpses of healing that tell me you are still at work. Today, I choose to live like hope is real. I choose to believe that the future is not a threat, that even in uncertainty, goodness and mercy will follow me, that even in waiting, there is movement, that even in silence, you are singing over me. Let this day be shaped not by what I do not know, by what I believe that you are making a way, that you are preparing something good, that nothing I walk through is wasted when it is surrendered to you. Let that hope be enough to anchor me in the middle, to lift my head, to soften my heart. When discouragement creeps in, let me return to this truth that hope is not foolish. It is holy. It is a sign that my heart is still alive, still tender, still brave enough to expect beauty again. Let me protect that hope, nurture it, feed it with truth, and share it freely. Because the world does not need more cynicism. It needs people who believe that love still wins, that light still breaks through, that grace still changes everything. So I step into this day with hope, not because I have seen the ending, because I trust the one who is writing it. I may not know what comes next, but I know you will be there. And that is enough for me to begin. Father, after choosing hope when the future felt unclear, I now feel you gently drawing me into something quieter, something steady, a reminder that faithfulness is not just found in the big decisions or the mountaintop moments, but in the simple, repeated rhythms of everyday life, in the ordinary, in the unseen, in the daily choices that do not always feel spiritual or significant, but are shaping who I am becoming. Lord, I confess how often I chase what is extraordinary. I want big clarity. Loud confirmation. Fast breakthroughs. But more often than not, you invite me into a slower, deeper path. One that does not always come with dramatic signs, but with quiet invitations to stay present, to stay rooted, to keep showing up even when it feels small, even when no one sees, even when it does not make headlines. I bring you the ordinary today, the list of tasks that feel repetitive, the routines that can seem dull, the responsibilities that require more patience than applause. I bring you the meals made, the conversations repeated, the errands run, the work done quietly behind the scenes. And I ask you to infuse these moments with meaning, not by changing them, but by changing how I see them. Let faithfulness become my offering. Even here, God, help me stop separating the sacred from the simple. Help me remember that folding laundry, preparing food, sending a kind message, listening fully, these, too, are acts of worship when done with love. These, too, carry weight in your kingdom. I do not have to be seen by the world to be seen by you. I do not have to do something big to be faithful. Sometimes, holiness looks like consistency, like grace in the mundane, like choosing gentleness one more time. Remind me that Jesus lived many quiet years before the world knew his name, that hidden seasons are not wasted, that you often work most deeply when the world is least aware. Let me find peace in the thought that I do not need to be constantly moving or achieving to matter. I only need to be faithful with what you have placed in my hands today. Lord, give me eyes to see the value of this ordinary moment. Give me ears to hear you in the silence between tasks. Give me a heart that delights not in recognition, but in obedience, even when no one else claps, even when it feels like nothing is changing, even when it is hard to measure. Help me see that consistency is a kind of courage, the kind that keeps loving, keeps praying, keeps working, keeps forgiving, keeps trying day after day without needing proof or praise. I ask for the strength to keep going when excitement fades, when the high of new beginnings wears off, when the routine becomes heavy. Help me resist the urge to give up too soon, to assume you are not working because I do not feel it. Let me become someone who stays rooted, committed, attentive even when it would be easier to check out, to drift, to move on. Father, when I feel tempted to believe that what I am doing does not matter, remind me that you see every seed, every act of quiet faith, every moment I choose love over apathy. Remind me that nothing done in love is ever wasted, that you are not looking for flashy, you are looking for faithful. Let this shift how I approach the hours ahead. Let me answer emails, scrub dishes, sit in traffic, care for others, and care for myself not as mindless routines, but as sacred space where your spirit dwells with me, where love can grow, where character is shaped, where presence matters more than perfection. Thank you for showing me that faithfulness is not about doing everything, but about doing what is mine with honesty and care. Thank you for reminding me that the small things are often the hardest to remain faithful in the daily sacrifices, the unrewarded patience, the discipline to keep showing up. And thank you that I do not have to do this alone, that you walk with me even through these simple hours. Let my attitude reflect the depth of my trust. Let my posture be one of quiet worship. Let my pace be measured not by pressure, but by peace. And when I forget the beauty of the ordinary, gently call me back to the slow, steady work of faithfulness, back to the miracle of breath and heartbeat and morning light, back to you. I do not ask for every day to feel extraordinary. I ask for the courage to remain faithful even when it does not. I ask for joy in the repetition, strength in the small things, purpose in the routine, because the more I pay attention, the more I see that you are here not only in the miracles, but in the minutes. Let me speak with kindness even when I am tired. Let me serve without needing recognition. Let me love without conditions. Let me care for my space, my people, my body, my work not as burdens to bear, but as gifts to steward. Let faithfulness reshape my view of success. Let it anchor me when I feel scattered. Let it remind me that being present is sometimes the holiest thing I can offer. And when the day ends and nothing dramatic has happened, let me lay my head down with peace, knowing that I chose to show up with love, that I chose to be faithful in the quiet, that I trusted you enough not to chase the spotlight, but to dwell where you are, even in the stillness. Because where you are, every ordinary thing becomes sacred, and that is where I want to be. Father, as I have begun learning to be faithful in the quiet moments of daily life, in the unseen hours, the small offerings, the repetition of love, I am starting to feel something deeper taking root. A question I have often buried beneath business now rises with gentleness. Has my story mattered? Not in the sense of fame or recognition, but in the quiet, honest to know if the path I have walked has had purpose, even in the pain, even in the detours, even in the parts I would not have chosen. Lord, I bring you the chapters I have lived so far, some filled with joy I never expected, others marked by loss that changed me, some seasons I stepped into with boldness, and others I barely crawled through. I bring you the years that felt fruitful and the ones that felt empty, the times I made brave choices, and the times I stayed stuck in fear. All of it, the beautiful and the broken, I lay before you now, asking not for erasure, but for understanding, for meaning. God, help me stop editing my story out of shame. Help me stop deleting the parts I think you would not use. Help me stop hiding the chapters I have labeled as unworthy. Because you are the author, not me, and you do not waste words. You do not write filler. You do not abandon your narrative halfway through. You are always weaving redemption through the pages, even when I can trace the thread. Show me where meaning has already been growing in conversations I thought were forgotten, in kindnesses I did not know mattered, in resilience I did not know I had. Let me look back and see more than just the hurt. Let me see the healing. Let me see how far I have come, even when I was sure I was stuck. Let me see the beauty of becoming slow. Sometimes messy, but real. Lord, I have spent too much time comparing my story to others, measuring my timeline against theirs, wondering if I missed something or if I am too late. But you have never rushed me. You have never asked me to match anyone else's pace. You are not grading my progress. You are walking with me, patiently, kindly, inviting me to trust that my story, in your hands, is not behind it is unfolding exactly as it should. Father, help me believe that the lessons I have learned in secret matter, that the tears I have cried in silence are not lost, that the forgiveness I have extended when no one was watching still echoes in eternity, that my quiet courage, my healing decisions, my quiet return to grace, they matter. They are seeds. They are sacred. They are not small in your eyes. Let me stop rushing ahead to the next thing just to feel worthy. Let me stop disowning parts of my past out of fear that they disqualify me. Let me sit, even briefly, with the truth that I am already part of something meaningful, that my presence in this world has value, that the story I have lived with its chapters of love, loss, wandering, discovery is not something to be hidden or rewritten, but offered. God, let me live this day not trying to escape my story, but to honor it, to integrate it, to learn from it, to find compassion for the younger version of me who did not yet know what I know now, to offer grace to the parts of myself I have judged too harshly, to look at my journey with open eyes and a soft heart, not to idolize it, but to finally stop running from it. Show me how to use what I have lived through to lift others up, to tell the truth gently, to walk with empathy, to speak with tenderness, to create with depth, to listen without judgment. Let my scars become bridges instead of barriers. Let my past become a place of understanding, not of shame. Let me carry my history not as a burden, but as a reminder that I have survived, that I have grown, that I have been held. Thank you for every time you carried me when I could not carry myself, for every quiet nudge back onto the path when I was lost, for not being disappointed by my detours, for redeeming what I thought was ruined, for showing me again and again that your grace runs deeper than regret, that even when I did not see the purpose, you were still planting seeds. Let me walk forward now with more peace about what is behind me. Let me speak my story not with apology, but with authenticity. Let me be a living witness that healing is possible, that hope returns, that even in the chapters I thought would break me, something sacred was being built. Father, help me remember that my story is not done yet, that no single moment defines the whole narrative, that you are still writing, still speaking, still transforming. Let that give me freedom to live this day with openness, to say yes when I used to shrink back, to risk kindness again, to dream again, to love again. And when I doubt if any of it has mattered, the late nights, the silent prayers, the quiet faithfulness remind me that you see what the world forgets. You count every unseen moment. You celebrate every quiet act of trust. You remember every time I chose to stay, to believe, to rise, even with trembling hands. So I choose to trust again, not only in where you are taking me, but in where I have been. I choose to stop disqualifying myself from what you are still doing. I choose to let my story speak, not as a perfect one, but as a real one, a human one, a sacred one. Because you are still writing, and as long as there is breath in me, there is more to be told. God. After pausing to reflect on the story, I have lived so far the wending road, the quiet faithfulness. The chapters I once wanted to skip, I sense you calling me toward one deeper truth that has been woven through it all. Love. It has always been about love. Every step, every surrender, every season of waiting or rising again has always been gently shaped by your love for me. And now, as I continue walking forward, I want this love, not fear, not guilt, not duty to be what leads everything I do. Father, I confess that it is easy to lose sight of that. It is easy to turn life into a checklist, to turn relationships into obligations, to turn even faith into performance. I have done things from a place of pressure before. I have tried to please people. I have tried to earn what was already mine. And in the process, love sometimes became muted. Routine replaced wonder. Self-protection replaced connection. But I do not want to live like that anymore. I want love to be the starting point again. Lord, help me remember what love looks like in real life, not as a lofty idea, but as the way I greet someone with presence, the way I respond with gentleness when I could react in frustration, the way I choose patience when I am tempted to rush. Let love be seen in the tone of my voice, the look in my eyes, the words I choose when no one else is listening. Let love fill the smallest places first, and let it ripple outward from there, slow, deep, lasting. I want to love with intention, not just emotion. To love when it is inconvenient. To love when it is quiet and unseen. To love when it stretches me. Let my life be marked not by how much I know or how much I have done, but by how well I have loved truly, consistently, bravely. Because love is not just what you have given to me. It is what you have asked me to reflect. It is both a gift and a calling. God, remind me that love is not weak. It is the fiercest strength I can carry. It takes courage to love someone who is hard to love. It takes humility to love without needing to be right. It takes resilience to keep loving when the world grows cold. But that is the life you modeled, one of compassion, mercy, grace, and truth. That is the life I want to live, not in grand gestures, but in the ordinary moments where love is most needed. Let me be bold in love, not loud, but steady. Let me listen more than I speak. Let me serve without announcing it. Let me be generous with encouragement, patient in conversation, sincere in silence. Let me show up for people not because I have answers, but because I care. Let me offer grace not only to those who agree with me, but to those who challenge me. Let me love without the condition of being loved back. Father, show me how to love myself, not with pride, but with the tenderness I often reserve for others. Teach me to see myself the way you do, to speak to myself with the same kindness I try to give away, to nourish my body, protect my time, honor my needs not from selfishness, but from a grounded place of knowing I am worthy of care. When I start to neglect my own heart, remind me that love begins here. With how I hold the life you have given me, let love lead my work, not just my relationships. Let it shape how I approach each task with integrity, with purpose, with awareness that what I do matters, even if it seems small. Let it lead how I collaborate, how I make decisions, how I create. Let love be the thread that ties my gifts to something greater than myself. And when pressure creeps in, let me remember, love does not strive. It serves. Love does not compete. It builds. Love does not boast. It blesses. God, I want love to lead not only when things are going well, but especially when they are not, when I feel wronged, when I feel wary, when others do not show up the way I hoped. Let me not withdraw. Let me not harden. Let me not respond out of fear or resentment. Let me respond like you with truth that never shames, with grace that never weakens, with boundaries that protect, with presence that heals. Thank you for loving me first, for choosing me without condition, for calling me by name before I ever did a thing to earn it. Thank you for reminding me that love is not earned or deserved, it is given. Freely, relentlessly, unfailingly. I could spend a lifetime learning to return that kind of love, and it would still not be enough. But today, I begin again, asking that you teach me how to love more like you. Let love be my filter. Let it color how I see the world. When I pass a stranger, when I read the news, when I sit with someone in silence, let my first response not be judgment or fear or indifference. Let it be love. Let me become less quick to assume and more eager to understand. Let me be slower to speak and faster to forgive. Let me love not as a reaction, but as a commitment. Lord, this world needs people who love deeply, and I want to be one of them. I want to be someone who leans in when others pull away, who speaks peace when chaos reigns, who creates space for others to be seen, heard, known, not to be impressive, but to be present, not to be celebrated, but to be faithful, because real love is always enough. So as I rise into the rest of this day, help me keep this at the center. Let every decision be filtered through love. Let every action be rooted in compassion. Let every word be seasoned with grace. Let me leave behind any motive that seeks attention, power, or validation, and instead follow the path of quiet, powerful love, the kind that does not shout, but transforms, the kind that looks like you, the kind I was made to give. Lord, as I sit here in the stillness of this sacred morning, after walking with you through every word, every whisper, every H, and healing across these chapters, I feel something stirring that is almost too quiet to name. It is not finality. It is not closure. It is something softer. A beginning. Not the loud kind of beginning that announces itself with fireworks, but the kind that unfolds with the hush of dawn. The kind that rises gently after a long night. The kind that speaks, not in thunder, but in the certainty of breath. After all the surrendering, all the confessions, all the remembering. What remains is not the weight of what was or the fear of what is next. It is the invitation to begin again, from exactly here. Father, thank you for walking with me through the valley of anxiety, the maze of control, the heaviness of regret, and the longing for meaning. Thank you for sitting with me in the pause. Thank you for being both strength and stillness. And now, thank you for this new beginning, one that does not erase the past, but honors it. One that does not require perfection, only presence. One that moves forward not because I have mastered everything, but because you are already ahead, calling me gently by name. Let today be shaped not by what I must prove, but by who I am becoming. Let it be defined not by pressure, but by presence. Let love lead my words. Let peace set the rhythm. And let grace hold every fragile part of me that still wonders if I am enough. Let me rise not because the path is clear, but because my spirit is willing. Let me step with the steady courage of someone who has remembered who they are not, because they figured it all out, but because they have been found, seen, and loved. God, I do not need to rush. I do not need to force joy or hurry healing. I only need to return to this moment, this breath, and remember that you are here, that you have always been here, that you will never leave, even when I forget to look for you. So help me look with softer eyes today. Let me notice wonder again. Let me bless the slow moments and find purpose in the pauses. Let my soul be gentle with itself. Let me speak to my heart the way you do, without shame, without rush, without harshness. Let this inner dialogue become more kind, more spacious, more rooted in love than fear. And when I fall short, when I get tired or distracted or afraid again, remind me I do not have to start over. I only have to return to trust, return to peace, return to you. Thank you for teaching me how to begin again, not just once, but again and again. Thank you for showing me that beginnings do not wait for perfect conditions. They bloom in broken places. They rise through quiet decisions. They breathe in the early hours when the world is still deciding what kind of day it will be. They come in the form of forgiveness, of gentleness, of showing up one more time, even when it would be easier not to. Let this final chapter not be an ending, but an opening. Let it be a gentle exhale. Let it be the soft landing before a new ascent. Let it be the moment I stop striving and simply receive peace, purpose, presence. Let it be where striving gives way to surrender and control yields to trust. Today, I want to carry this peace forward, not as a fragile thing, but as a flame that lives quietly in me, guiding, warming, illuminating. I want to remember that I do not have to be strong all the time. I only have to stay close to you, close to grace, close to the present moment, where everything real begins. And if ever I forget, if I return to the hurried, the heavy, the hopeless, help me begin again, without fear, without shame. Let returning become my rhythm. Let softness become my strength. Let surrender become the soil where joy grows again. Let hope rise like morning light, not always loud, but always certain. To everyone who has journeyed with me through these morning prayers, thank you. Thank you for sitting with your own pain and hope and weariness. Thank you for letting your heart open one breath at a time. Thank you for choosing to stay, for choosing trust, for believing that this kind of quiet inner work matters, that your faith matters, that your story, even the parts no one sees, is sacred. If these words have met you in a silent place, I invite you to share what stirred your heart, your reflections, your own whispered prayers, your honest beginning. There is space for them here. Let this be a place where stories are honored and voices are heard, where no emotion is too messy, where grace meets you exactly where you are. If this journey has brought light to your morning, I invite you to subscribe to this channel so that hope can continue meeting you here each day. Share this prayer with someone who needs gentleness more than advice, comfort more than clarity. Let us build a rhythm of quiet strength together, a rhythm of beginning again, and again, and again. And now, with peace in my chest and a soul made ready to rise, I sit in the soft hush of this sacred hour. I hear the birds beginning their song. I feel the quiet air moving through the open window. The sky, still pale with morning, holds the promise of light. It is not loud, it is not rushed, but it is enough. A new day is breathing. A new beginning is here, and love is already waiting in it.